Good evening, everyone. My name is Mike Wickers. I am the mayor of Cottonwood Heights, and this is the Cottonwood Heights City Council business meeting for Tuesday, May 21st, 2024. We're going to begin our meeting tonight with the Pledge of Allegiance. I've asked Councilmember Holton from District 1 to lead us in the pledge. Thank you, Councilmember Holton. Item 3 on our agenda, once a month, we ask the members of the city council to share with our citizens some of the things that they're working on uh, and some of the committee assignments that they have, how those meetings are going, and then some of the things that they want to advocate for. And so we're going to start that item with our District 1 council member, Matt Holton.
Good evening, everybody. Good to see you all as always. A couple updates I've talked to you about. Look, I think I have the best assignments. Trash and mosquito abatement. What matters more than trash and mosquito abatement? So quick reminder, if you have standing water in your backyard, make sure to dispose of that unless you want mosquitoes, then I guess keep it around. And with trash, so there's been this spring cleanup where you go on, you reserve a bin to be put at your home so you can kind of throw a bunch of trash away. There's a couple problems with the system. One, they have you go on, it opens at midnight, and this has already happened, but it opens at midnight. And the reason why they do that is they don't want their servers to crash. But then they run out within, 12 hours. They run out. There's not enough bins. On some of our community pages, it's been interesting to see there have been people that are like bartering for, hey, you reserved one. Could I pay you? Could I give you something so I can get that reservation? I've talked to the districts and I've just said, look, I don't want to create a system where our own residents, it's this free for all, like it's Black Friday, and they're fighting each other over a cheap TV. I think we should have this accessible to as many people as we can. And what it comes down to, it's a staffing problem. Every year they would hire temporary staff just to do kind of the seasonal trash pickup with this program. And they're having a hard time getting these people hired on a seasonal basis. So we're meeting in the next couple of weeks to try to put a new process together for next year. If you have suggestions, please let me know. I think the way that it's currently done is okay. It can definitely be improved. If you've got a huge mosquito issue, let me know. I'm your mosquito guy, and I'm happy to call our people and see what we can't do to mitigate. Thanks.
Thank you, Councilmember Holton. From District 2, Councilmember Suzanne Highland.
My report will be very brief. There's a lot of planning still going on for Butlerville Days. I sit on the CH2 committee, and mine's a little bit more exciting than mosquitoes. I get to plan some fun. So, and then things are going on at the rec center as well. The pool's opening and all the fun, exciting summer activities. There's also been a pickleball tournament that's been announced, the mayor's pickleball tournament. So all those pickleball players are going to come out and try to beat the mayor. Probably most important, the committee assignments I have is emergency management. And there's a lot of water to come down, but not so much that we're panicking or having to organize sandbagging and things like that. So we're looking at the weather report over the next week and how things are coming down, and things are looking really good compared to last year. So good news for us.
Thank you, Councilmember Highland. From our District 3, Councilmember Sean Newell.
Good evening. I, like my fellow council members and mayor, serve on a number of committees. One of them is our city's Arts Council. And with the Arts Council, we're having some great things going on right now. We're getting ready for the musical Beauty and the Beast. The rehearsals and the set building is going great for those right now. And we're excited about this. So please come out. I believe it's in July, and I have the dates somewhere, but we'll be sharing those dates also. They should be on the website right now. Also, there's going to be a project that's going on through the Arts Council where there will be murals painted on some of the big electrical boxes throughout the city. And we have a couple of them on Bengal and Mountain View Park that'll be done first. And hopefully those will be done in June. So we'll give you a chance to see some local artists do their work and be able to enjoy those murals, hopefully across the city here, coming along pretty soon. Also in July, we have the painting in the park and the I can't even say it, chalk art festival. And I was choking on the chalk art festival. And those will be coming along in July. We'll share those dates as they come about. Myself and our city manager, Tim Tiggy, we also serve on the South Valley Chamber Board. There's a lot of activities going on there. We hope that our businesses start to really feel comfortable in getting involved with what we're doing there at the South Valley Chamber and becoming a greater part of the chamber. That's where we start to see that our membership as a city with that entity is really valuable. So we need you, our businesses, to come out and help us to be able to realize that. I serve on the Canyon School Foundation, and on the Canyon School Foundation, what we do as a foundation is we are the fundraising arm for the Canyon School District. We have a number of different activities that are coming up here in the near future. We just got done with a fun run, which was a 5K. It was a great event, done on a Saturday. It was Saturday the 4th, I believe. I can't remember the date, but it was a wonderful opportunity for our residents to come out, share some time. The theme was Star Wars. So, I mean, I'm old. I remember the first Star Wars. So all these other Star Wars that have come along, I've kind of erased those from my mind. But we had R2-D2 out there and some other Star Wars characters. But it was a great event, and we had close to 250 people sign up for that fun run. So it worked out really, really well. And what was that? Oh. And one of the things that I really wanted to point out is, and we talked about a little earlier in our earlier meeting, is we're part of the budget. I'm part of the budget committee, and I want to give our staff here in the city kudos, and our city manager and mayor. They do a great job in creating a budget that's conducive to our city being able to do the things we want to do, to be the type of city that we want to be. And I just wanted to make sure that I acknowledged to folks. Oh yeah, on the 13th, we also had our ribbon cutting for the Public Works Department. That was a blast. I mean, you talk about night and day facilities. It was so great to get there and also to make Matt smile constantly. It was a great day. And I want to thank everyone that came out to participate with us and to get a chance to walk through that facility and see what we're doing as a city to improve our amenities for the people that work for Cottonwood Heights. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Newell. From Council District 4, we have Councilmember Ellen Burrell, who is online with us this evening. Councilmember Burrell.
Hi there. Thank you. I'm sorry I can't be there in person, but I'm doing some work that I think will benefit the city remotely. And so I thank Councilmember Newell and others who have reported on a number of things that are happening in our city. So I'll just cut to the chase on Parks, Trails, and Open Space Committee, on which I serve. They're doing a lot of things right now. The subcommittee on active transportation out of PTOS has put together a wonderful PowerPoint presentation on a federal grant opportunity that has come out of the Infrastructure Act. It's a little bit similar to the Safe Streets for All. Its acronym is ATIP. It stands for Active Transportation. And what's unique about it is it has a much lower threshold for entry, you could say. The grant there would only require a match from the city of $20,000. That's coming up in the next month. And I think that we'll hear more from the subcommittee directly to the council in the days ahead. Again, it's unique from past grant opportunities where the emphasis has been on arterials and collectors that have regional significance. Whereas what I really want to commend the subcommittee on is they're really going after neighborhood byways and ways to connect within our city to destinations right within our city by having safer streets. I also want to bring up, also on the lines of transportation, that I'm continuing to work with individuals and agencies related to UTA and their ski bus service. Their latest plan is to contract, in essence, outsource bus operators so that we can reinstate Route 953 along Fort Union Boulevard in this next ski season. I also want to report on a wonderful tour. If any of you got in on it, it occurred a few weeks ago with Salt Lake City Utilities, had a tour of their Salt Lake City and Sandy water treatment plant located in District 4. It was completely fascinating, and in attendance at that were, of course, folks from Salt Lake City Utilities that talked about their 3 programs that are available to Cottonwood Heights residents that include the Water Check program, the low water grass seed program, as well as rain barrel program. So if you're curious about those things, please, check in, and I'm happy to provide additional information on that as well. So as we head into the summer season and water conservation is on many of our minds, again, Salt Lake Public Utilities has some really great programs to support us in doing things like flipping the strip and keeping ourselves green and conserve water. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Burrell. So I'm just going to add a couple of things here real quick. Councilmember Highland talked a little bit about our spring runoff. I had the opportunity this past week to be on KSL radio along with the county and some of their emergency management folks and flood control. And we talked about all of the water. There's still about 10 inches of water up in our mountains, which is still a lot. The flows that they're expecting will be about 600 CFS, which is cubic feet per second. They gave an interesting analogy how to think of that. That means if one cubic foot per second would, if you think of it as a basketball, about 600 of those will come down every second during our heaviest flows, which is when it gets a little bit warmer. And we're expecting them to be that high this year. Last year, they got up to the 700 level. And even a little bit higher than that, and that's when we were really worried about the flood stages. But it's pretty amazing. We had an amazing water year. There's a lot of water up there, but the weather has cooperated with us, and it's coming down at a reasonable rate every day. And we get some cold days and some warm days, and then cool nights. And so the county is not expecting any flooding. We do want our citizens to know that they're able to go to our public works yard on Tuesday and Thursday from 4 to 8 if they want to do any sandbags, and they can take those to their home and anywhere that they're nervous about any flooding. But we do encourage all of our residents to continually look at any areas near your property that could back up and cause flooding. So, and to keep those clear of limbs and all of the other things, and to be very safe around waterways as well. So the only other thing I was going to do real quickly is give you a little bit of an upside on Hillside Plaza. Our advisory committee has worked closely with our consultant. They broke into subcommittees the last month and have been meeting regularly together. And the consultant has been tasked with coming up with at least a couple designs where they are going to give us detail with graphics that we can then hopefully in the next 2, 3 to 4 weeks start sharing with the public. And so possibly at our next meeting, and if not on the 4th, that would be the one after that, where we will have some things to share and actually show pictures and graphics and ideas that we're going to look at for the Hillside Plaza redevelopment that we're really excited about. So having said that, we're going to move over to our item number 4, which is our citizen comment period. I usually read a disclaimer. We only have one person, and Nancy knows the rules, so we're going to invite Nancy Hardy up to share her thoughts with us. Hi, Nancy.
City Council members. Water is the topic. Well, they're working on the big Cottonwood water treatment facility, or will be. And this morning I saw a news clip about water and about safety of water and cybersecurity vulnerabilities. And the threats of attacks are increasing in number and severity. And it says especially a big problem for small town water systems. So it was just some information. So I just thought maybe this is a good time to implement any securities, and maybe it's confidential, but there were some good things on the news today about it.
Great.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nancy. As a point of information, our council, I believe last meeting while I was gone, put on life jackets and took some pictures. Is that right? To let our residents know how important it is to wear a life jacket when entering water, and so we were happy to participate with the rec center and their education program to be safe around any water. So we echo those comments as well, Nancy. Thank you. I think we have a couple comments to enter in from that have come in through the week, right, Tim?
Yes, just
record.
one,
one.
at this point. Yeah, it's from Stacy Kohar. And so her comment was submitted, we forwarded it to the council, and it's part of the record. She had concerns about noise related to the gravel pit operation and other noise on Wasatch Boulevard. So this is part of the record. I'm not reading it all, but it will be included as part of our public record. That's all I have.
Great. Thank you. With that, without seeing any other people here to comment, I will close the citizen comment period. We, item 5, we have 3 legislative action items to consider as a council this evening. We're going to start with item 5.1, consideration of ordinance 416, amending code chapter 15, buildings and construction concerning demolition. So we had the opportunity earlier in our work session to discuss this item in detail. Are there any other questions or comments from the council on this item?
I do have a question, and that is in regard to non-historic structure demolition. So if I want to demolition my shed in my backyard, I have to have a permit. And if I don't get a permit, it's punishable as a Class C misdemeanor. Am I reading that ordinance right?
I don't think so, but let's talk to Shane and see what, or Mike.
I don't think there's a de minimis standard in this ordinance for it's any type of structure, any type of building.
Any type of building. So is that appropriate in this ordinance for that kind of severe penalty?
Typically for building code right now, where we don't have this ordinance, you have to get a demolition permit. It's not extensive for something like a shed, but for a home, it's air quality, asbestos testing, and approval from the utilities that they've shut off utilities, and then it's an over-the-counter permit from the city. So this process would just cover if someone goes and demolishes something without going through that permitting process. As long as they get their $50 permit, it won't change anything.
Okay. I think a Class C misdemeanor is a little steep, but I could misunderstand the implications of, why that's in this ordinance. It's my only concern.
Just to make sure that I understand this correctly, it is any structure. So there is not a floor of what qualifies.
Not in the current ordinance for the reasons that Mike alluded to. So
as a kid, we built our dog a little dog house. If I tear that down, is that I need a permit to do that?
In the building code, there is a threshold of when a permit's needed. If it's something small like that, the building code's not going to cover that. I don't know that this ordinance would either. This is meant to tie with anything we issue demo permits for. It's just, again, added incentive to make sure you get your permits before you go and demolish these buildings.
So this isn't changing any standard. This is
No.
having a penalty.
This is what happens if you don't.
Whatever is required under the building code will continue.
Understood. Thanks.
Okay, one more question then. So is this something that with code enforcement, just like a traffic violation, that an officer could have some discretion about the severity of the, if it's a whole house and there's asbestos and things, then obviously it's going to be something that's cited. If it's a shed and it's a dog house, then is there discretion for that citation?
I don't want to speak for the police department and code enforcement. Typically, yes. If a zoning or permit violation happens, they'll come talk to us and say, hey, what permits should they have gotten? And then, sometimes those cases get resolved without going to full citation, presenting the case in front of a judge. So I would assume that, yes, there would be some discretion based on the severity of the violation, but I don't want to speak for the police department.
There would be discretion, although when you raise that question about the shed, it concerns me a bit because we have had those cases before where we've had to have people tear down their sheds or people have torn down their sheds and neighbors complain. I'm just trying to work that through my mind as to where that line would be. I'm not sure that I want to leave it the discretion solely in the hands of the officer on something like that. I think that's dangerous, isn't it?
I'm uncomfortable with this. I'll just say that I'm uncomfortable that there's not, I do support this ordinance. I do think we need a demolition ordinance in our city code. I'm uncomfortable that there's not a little bit more specificity about what a non-historic structure entails and the penalties for taking one down.
So may I just add to that? So when we talk about structures, and Mike, you can correct me if I'm wrong, that there are certain structures and sizes of structures that are not required to get permits.
200 square feet or less.
200 square, feet or less. And so on those types of structures where they're not required to get a permit, those types of elements, probably there's not an issue. Therefore, the dog house and things such as that. But we do have concerns with people that aren't going through processes to get permits for demolition. There are health safety issues that can be implied significantly with asbestos and other things. So we want to make sure that there are elements in place that there's enforcement measures that people need to know that they need to go through those processes for those structures that are required to get permits or demolition permits.
So in this ordinance here, I think what I hear you saying is that if it's not a building that had to be permitted, that this demolition ordinance doesn't apply?
I think that would be accurate. You can go buy a, tough shed from Home Depot that's 5x5 or 10x10 right now. It does need to meet zoning and setbacks, and we've made property owners move those when they put them too close to properties, but it doesn't need to go through the permitting process right now because building code exempts structures up to 200 square feet from the permitting process. But we have sheds in the city that have second stories and are, bigger than my house. And certainly we would want to see proper permits issued before those are removed because those are like habitable structures.
Fair enough. I agree. And in general, I want to again say, I really like that we're doing this and I like the parameters of, looking at a historic building and being able to have flexibility about how savable is that historic building. I just returned from Italy and they build over the top of historic sites, but they preserve the historic site in the structure of the new building. It's remarkable. It's amazing. So I like that there's that flexibility in this ordinance. I'm always uncomfortable just saying, oh, we're just going to be the good guys and not worry about those things if it's not specified in the ordinance and everything's subject to review and revision. I understand that. But I'd like us to be very clear.
So let me ask Shane if it would be possible to entertain an eventual motion with the disclaimer that that we specify a minimum that the demolition permit minimum applies to those that needed a building permit in the first place. Anything over 200 square feet.
Yeah, we could do a amendment to subsection K of 15.15.010. That's the definition of non-historic structure. So it would read, non-historic structure means any building or structure containing less than or 200 square feet or less. That is not a floor area, that is not a historic structure under subsection I of this section. Does that sound okay?
Yes, to me it does.
Thank you. I'd be much more inclined to go ahead and say, yes, let's get this done tonight. if
So
we do
let's,
something.
and if we do get a motion, if they would include that basic language in the motion, that would be great. So at this point, thank you for that discussion. I appreciate that. At this point, I'll entertain a motion to approve consideration of ordinance 416, amending code chapter 15, buildings and construction concerning demolition with the amendment to or let's see, to apply only to
Yeah, so the change would be non-historic structure. This is in subpart K of 15.15.010. Non-historic structure means any building or structure containing over 200 square feet of floor area that is not a historic structure under subsection I of this section, subsection J of this section, rather. Okay.
Motion to approve the addition to subsection K that Shane mentioned. Do I have to say it word for word?
I think that's fine.
All right. Second, anybody?
I'll second that.
great
This is the motion to approve ordinance
416.
416.
Matt, if you could say maybe a motion to approve 416 with the
Motion
stated
to
amendment.
approve 416 with the stated amendment.
Second.
We have a motion to approve from Councilmember Holton and a second from Councilmember Highland. Any other final questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. Councilmember Highland,
Yes.
Councilmember Newell,
Yes.
Councilmember Burrell,
Yes.
Councilmember Holton, and I will vote yes.
Try this one. It's really fun.
Item 5.2, consideration of resolution 2024-37, approving performance contracts for 2024 Butlerville Days. We also had the opportunity to discuss this item a little bit earlier in our work session. Any other questions or comments from the council? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve resolution 2024-37, approving performance contracts for 2024 Butlerville Days.
I'll make the motion to approve consideration of resolution 2024-37.
Second.
Motion to approve from Councilmember Newell and a second from Councilmember Highland. Final questions, comments? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. Councilmember Newell,
Yes.
Councilmember Burrell,
Yes. Oh.
Councilmember Holton,
Yes.
Councilmember Highland,
Yes.
and I will vote yes. Our last item for consideration this evening is a consideration of resolution 2024-38, authorizing certain retirement contributions and benefits. We also discussed this in our work session earlier. Any other questions or comments from the council? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve resolution 2024-38, authorizing certain retirement contributions and benefits.
A motion to approve resolution 2024-38 to authorize certain retirement contributions and benefits.
I'll second.
Motion to approve from Councilmember Highland and a second from Councilmember Newell. Final questions? Call for the vote. Councilmember Burrell,
Yes.
Councilmember Holton,
Yes.
Councilmember Highland,
Yes.
Councilmember Newell,
Yes.
And I will vote yes. The last item on our agenda for this evening is the approval of the consent calendar, which is the minutes from the city council's work session and business meeting for May 7th, 2024. Could I get a motion to approve the consent calendar?
Motion to approve the consent calendar.
Second.
Motion to approve and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. everyone. Thank you, Councilmember